Indiana Pacers just did something that is beyond incredible, in my opinion. So, take away the heart-wrenching part of Tyrese Halliburton obviously injured himself 7 minutes into Game 7, which is unfortunate. It's something that it's going to sound messed up to say, but I'm almost glad he did it in terms of I'm glad that he played, and even though his body gave out on him, the idea of him sitting out because of potential injury, I think honestly would have messed him up more. If he had to live with the idea of, well, what if I didn't get her? That possibility existing in his head could have potentially damaged the player. Because sports is, well, yes, it's physical, it's athletics, it's skill, it's all these other things. A large part of sports is also mentality, how you feel about it, and that stuff matters. And so when you're dealing with that, the idea that he might have looked at it and said, you know what, I can't play. I'm going to risk injury. I'm going to potentially miss next season, which he's going to now miss because it's presumed Achilles. I don't think we've gotten the official diagnosis yet. So I'm glad he played. It's just something about like sports and the gladiator aspect and the warrior, and it's extremely unfortunate what happened, but I am glad he played. What the Pacers did all postseason, despite the odds, like not just odds in terms of where they were at from if you bet on them, how likely were they to win a title? Vegas never looked at them as that, even when they were up against Milwaukee, even when they were up against New York, even when they were up against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Vegas never believed in them. Whether you want to go in game when they were down, the game against New York, that the Pacers, if you were to have turned off a TV with 3 minutes to go because it was okay, there's no chance they have their, we finally hit that point of the other team's going to win no matter what they do. They did the no matter what you do. It was incredible, this entire Pacers run. The most amazing thing that I think they accomplished. Let's go since 2000. Since just to be fair, I was 6, I could actually start having a handful of thoughts of my own. We have one guy who, even in a losing effort, was unanimously celebrated for losing an NBA Finals. Wasn't LeBron, wasn't Kobe, wasn't Shaq, wasn't Duncan. When AI dropped 40 points in Game 1, took Game 1 from the Lakers, a Lakers team that had not lost that postseason, only ended up with one loss that postseason. Everybody knew what we were looking at. One of the most unstoppable teams and players of all time, Kobe, Shaq, what that Lakers team had, nobody was stopping them. So the fact that the AI-led Sixers took Game 1, that is a moment that is still remembered fondly in history. And the Sixers lost. And to show, and I know I keep shitting on people that just want to throw numbers out there, the Sixers, by any metric, would not have been such a historical underdog. They had the coach of the year, they had the defensive player of the year, I believe the sixth man of the year, and AI won MVP. So they took all the awards. History would remember that as in, that would be an all-time juggernaut team. Coach of the year, defensive player of the year, MVP, but we all knew they weren't beating Kobe and Shaq. They were not beating Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. But we loved that AI performance. It is etched into our brain. It is thought of so fondly. And I think Tyrese Halliburton gave us the second one of that. I think this Pacers team is going to be more remembered. We're going to talk about this more with Tony tomorrow. Will be more remembered than the actual NBA champion Oklahoma City Thunder. If it's a one-year thing. Now, the Thunder might end up, if the Thunder, despite what I've been saying, truly do turn into a dynasty and win multiple titles and become an all-time great team, this will start to change. But as right now, the team everybody's thinking of, the player everyone's thinking of, it's Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers. I don't think it's, I realistically don't even think it's that close. I think what they did was so spectacular and magical. The fashion in which they did it, we will look back on this and go, yo, you remember when Tyrese is going crazy hitting all those game winners? We're not going to look back on the Thunder and go, yo, man, remember when it was so crazy they were playing all that defense? And that's rare to get from the losing side. But I think they did it. And I understand it's we're a day out. There's all these different emotions. But this is the time where, like, as the champs, you're supposed to be able to say whatever you want. This is when guys at parades go and say, yo, we're going to be back next year, and we win in the next 5, and you can say whatever you want because you are the champions. I think everybody thinks more highly is probably unfair because the Thunder do deserve to be able to talk their shit and to feel like we are the champions and they did this, that, and the third. But I think the Pacers are going to be the team we remember more. And some of that is, and I'm not trying to be condescending, some of that is sympathy. We knew that team that the Sixers had no shot against Shaq and Kobe. So winning a game was it was semi-sympathetic of, oh man, they might really have a chance. They might really do this. Oh my gosh, like we weren't expecting that at all. Then they lose 4 straight, but we will always have game 1. The Pacers, by almost all expert predictions, were supposed to lose in 4, 5. People were making bets of the year. Pacers or Thunder in 5. The Pacers, despite the odds, for a series and game, and then to also the sympathetic aspect, Halliburton getting injured means, and because he was shooting the ball really well to start game 7, we're going to just human nature. We're going to go, what if? Those magic words. Tony loves to call me if man. But those magic words change how we view things in sports. What if? And it's why we keep coming back. Sports has always been the ultimate reality television. And what do you need in reality television? You need a little bit of that. What if? We need that in life. What if this happened? What if that happened? Would my life have been different if? We love ifs. Ifs help us dream and think of other possibilities. So the Halliburton injury, on top of all the game winners, it just felt like it was his time. And I think this Pacers team is uniquely going to be remembered more so than even the defending champions or the reigning champions. I keep saying that, the reigning champions, Oklahoma City Thunder. And to be fair, that might have also been true with Iverson. Now, Kobe and Shaq ended up winning so many titles, it became a dynasty that's going to overshadow an individual performance or season. And so that's why AI eventually got totally overshadowed. But had that been just a one-off finals, like let's say Kobe and Shaq's career go way different, maybe everything blows up after that season, so they only get the one title. Would we remember AI and the Sixers even more fondly than Kobe and Shaq? It's a thought. It's a thought. Now, let's also go to one of the unfortunate parts we got to talk about. And that's that the Pacers realistically, now this is unfair because their whole thing has been defying the odds and, no one believes in them. But I do think it's fair to say that as amazing as this run was, this has all the makings of we won't see this team in this position again. And that's not an insult. That's just reality. Most teams, even teams that win the finals, don't go back to repeat. In fact, in this era of 7 consecutive new champions, the last 6 all lost in the second round. Those are the teams that won. And we thought, Jokic, oh, he's going to rail off some. Giannis, he's going to reel off some. LeBron and AD, LeBron's going to pass torch to AD. They're going to go crazy. All lose in the second round. Then you got teams that lose the finals, and realistically, the best bounce back is the Celtics ended up getting back to the title a year afterwards. But I don't think Indiana has Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Derek White and Kristaps and Al Horford and trading for Jrue Holiday. That's not how I view this team. This was a amazing story that has all the signs of being a one-off, which I'll be very clear here. That's not a bad thing. We need to stop taking away from the teams that get there, even if it's only once, and not try to minimize their story. Not everybody's going to have, I keep saying this over and over again, not everyone's going to have Larry Bird or Magic Johnson's story. 3, 4, 5 NBA championships. Not everyone's going to be Tim Duncan and the Spurs. That sustained greatness of success. But what Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers did, this is what we can't do. We can't, to LeBron's point of last week when he said, man, this is what ring culture does, and this is an example of when ring culture gets bad. Tyrese Halliburton just gave us lifetime memories of sports fans. Don't diminish that because he didn't win a title. Don't go, oh, well, that Knicks series now isn't, those shots aren't as cool, or that comeback's not as impressive, or him doing the choke celebration doesn't mean as much. LeBron's 10 years older than me. But I'm very well aware of, is the Reggie Miller moment any less magical because he didn't win a championship? No. Is T-Mac scoring 8 points in 3 seconds or 2 seconds? Is that any less magical because he didn't win a title? These are the things when LeBron's saying ring culture has enveloped NBA treatment as a whole. You can still have these magical moments that aren't all wrapped up into the finals. They play 82 regular season games and then they go back and they play 4 rounds of playoffs. That's a lot of time for magical things to happen. Steph hitting that shot, Steph's crazy game in New York. They didn't win a title that year. Am I supposed to think any less of that? Charles Barkley, go through his career highlights. Am I supposed to think less of that? Don't let ring culture take away your enjoyment for what the Pacers just gave us. Because it was, without a doubt, it was incredible. It was inspiring. These are two small, talking about inspiring, these are 2 small market teams. I was alive when everybody was upset that LA, Miami, and Boston and New York were getting everybody. Chicago too with D Rose, no one, but now it's a little more homegrown, but there's still the concept of these 5 big cities and feeling like, oh, they're the only teams that are going to compete. Everybody's got a chance. We just watched OKC, Indiana. Everyone's got a chance if you have the right ownership, general manager, the right guys in place. This was an amazing playoff run by the Indiana Pacers. They obviously came up a little bit short, but what a hell of a run. Congrats to them. Don't let ring culture fool you. And maybe the most impressive performance from a losing team in the finals since AI and the Sixers. This is HardFoul Radio. One more thing to discuss when we come back.